Posted on Instagram to ask me some questions, and then I would put them up on the YouTube channel. So here we are. These are your questions that you asked me, and these are my answers. All right, to get started, first question is from NaturewithGabe. Why are soft shells the coolest turtle on the planet? I don't know, man. They're everything about them is cool. I mean, if you think about the fact that they've got, that snorkel nose, they've got that shell, that low, flat shell that doesn't have bony plates on it, doesn't have any scutes on it. It's just a slow, low piece of leather, and then they're so aquatic, they can burrow into sand almost like a stingray, but then they also do really great in open water. They can do, cloacal breathing. They can breathe through capillaries in the surface of their skin. They have lips, that's super random. They actually have lips covering their beak, and it keeps their beak sharp. So there's a huge list of reasons why they're the coolest turtles on the planet. So I hope that answers your question. It's kind of more of an opinion, but I back it. That's an awesome one. Next question comes from Cal_Bordy. What is the best turtle to own as a pet? That's a tough one. It depends on who you are and what your means is as far as what you can house and if you can do it indoors, and that's where you're limited to. So if you're limited to an aquarium or maybe doing some tubs indoors, then you're limited to probably smaller stuff. You're not really going to be housing a huge soft shell or big snapping turtle or anything large and aquatic, and definitely not large tortoises, because they'll just tear up your house. So best is kind of a loaded term, but if I had to say one overall that seems to work for most people across the board for an aquatic, I would probably say the eastern painted turtle, just because of their cold tolerance. They can freeze completely solid and come back to life, and they can also do well in the south and deal with heat. And for a terrestrial turtle that seems to do well for most people, I would probably say either the Russian tortoise or the Redfoot. They seem to have the most latitude in any direction as far as being able to adapt and everything. Sulcutas can kind of survive a lot, but they're also kind of a pain to work with. I love them to death, but let's be real, sulcutas are a lot of work. So my vote for best pet turtle is probably eastern painted turtle or loggerhead musk turtle. Next question is from Turtles of Big Cove. Can Peninsula Cooters brumate outdoors in northern climates where ponds freeze over? Yes and no. I mean, you kind of have a sliding scale. So a Peninsula Cooter could do well, bearing in mind they come from the peninsular region of Florida. So as you go up, you start to get into northern Florida, southern Georgia. They'll do fine there. Then you start to get up into middle and north Georgia. They'll still do fine, but for them to brumate and deal with ice and cold weather outdoors, they need to have a deep area of water. Water needs to be circulated so that it doesn't completely ice over. I would be leery of any further north than North Georgia, Tennessee, getting into North Carolina, southern Virginia, going over, I think Arkansas or something like that. So just because I have had issues with Peninsula Cooters not really adapting to cold as well as they're closely related Florida Cooter. The Peninsulars really just they seem to be adapted to that that whole area of Florida where temperatures don't get too extreme. So I hope that answers your question. Hopefully if you have a Peninsula Cooter and you live way up north, just bring it inside, dude. It'll be fine. And next question is from predolg. I've seen you've messaged me on Instagram. I don't know how to pronounce your name, but it's Predolg. Predolg. I like that pronunciation. I'm sure I'm screwing it up. I'm trying to set up a nice enclosure for my Redfoot in Brazil. Any tips? Well, you're in the right place because they come from there. So if I were you, and if you have the ability, I would actually go see if you can take a trip, see where they're from. Go look at the trees where they're at. Look at the leaf litter that's on the ground. They like those, those grassy savannas of kind of bordering those thick forests. So see if you can do something where you build an enclosure where maybe the back wall of it has like a lot of, thick leaf litter, you have some trees, maybe, you could probably get away with doing something like a mango tree. This way when the fruit falls, they can eat it. And kind of do those along the back, but then do the front part, especially if you can do it where the sun comes across, do like a grassy open area in that front part, and then, somewhere in there work in like a water area where they can soak. And I would think being in Brazil, man, it's practically done for you. So I'm sure you'll do it right and it'll be no problem, dude. Next question, chelonian.carter. Are you going to the symposium put on by the TSA and IUCN/SSC next summer? I don't think so. Unless somebody invites me. I haven't been to a TSA meetings in probably 2 years. So I'm not opposed to going. I think all that stuff's cool. It's always awesome to get together with people that are like-minded and into kind of the same stuff we are. That's the whole reason I do this YouTube channel, is because I think that there's a lot of information that we can all benefit from, and I think that we should all be, doing this and exchanging information and sharing ideas. I don't know all of it, I don't know everything. So I love getting together with people and kind of, just kind of going through things and talking about, hey, this worked for you? Well, oh, I did this way, because sometimes you'll learn something that'll just blow your mind. You never knew or you never thought of. To answer your question, I didn't even know about it and I wasn't planning on it, but I'm not opposed to it. A lot can happen between now and next summer, so we'll see. Turtles and more. Yeah, I've seen you on Instagram. How do you get into turtles, and where do you see yourself moving forward in involving turtles? How did I get into turtles? I grew up kind of in the South my whole life, and when I was really young, I remember my dad driving around when I was like a little kid. I was probably maybe 3 or 4 maybe, and he would always like make note of like, oh, like, look, a box turtle, and then we'd always like stop and see a box turtle in the road, and that was always cool to me. And then when we moved down to Florida, it was just like turtles were everywhere. I remember the first couple times I went outside and rode my bike, there was just Florida box turtles crossing the road, gopher tortoises crossing the road, racers, indigo snakes. There were alligators in the water. Especially back then, Florida was still pretty rural, and you could kind of find anything anywhere. So there wasn't a lot of little kids immediately around to play with. So it was me and my younger brother, and a lot of times we would just take field guides and put them in little backpacks and sandwiches, and we would just go out all day long, just, okay, what can we find? And, matching it up with the field guide and learning about all that stuff. We were little nerds, running around in the woods, but I'm totally happy with how it made my life, and it's given me a lot of knowledge, and hopefully I can share that with people. I'm really glad that I did have that growing up. Kind of still wish I lived in Florida, but I'm here, and I have no complaints about being here. And moving forward, I just want to keep doing what I'm doing. I want to kind of keep making these videos. I want to keep sharing this information with you guys. I want to try and meet as many people as I can. I see all you guys in the comments, and I see you on Instagram, and it'd be my goal to try and meet each and every one of you and talk turtles, on a one-on-one basis. I think that would be really awesome. There's a lot of stuff I would like to work with in the future, but I'm in no rush. I'm not one of these where I feel like I need to keep getting a turtle all the time. I don't really see a point to that. I like what I have. I think moving forward, I just want to keep building habitats and sharing, my techniques of doing stuff, and keep trying to educate. I'd like to maybe eventually, have some kind of program I do where I can go around and bring animals with me, and kind of teach people that turtles are cool, and there's something that's very endangered and needs to be saved. And I'd like to have a part in it somewhere along the line. I hope that answers your question. I know that's a pretty long-winded answer. My next question comes from mattwelc. Matt is really awesome. He is a student researcher, and he does striped neck musk turtles in Alabama. He's an awesome guy. I got to meet him like about a week and a half ago. What U.S. turtle species / subspecies have I not seen and would most like to see in the wild? Let's see. I would say spotted turtles, but I have seen them. I've just never got my hands on them because I always see them when I'm in like some random place in South Georgia and I stop to pee. I always pee by the water so I can look for turtles, and that's the times where I've seen spotted turtles and they just get away. And the habitat that they're in is like this dark black water covered in duckweed, and you know, a little black spotted turtle, just, you're not gonna find it. So other than that, I'm really fascinated by diamondback terrapins. I've never seen a live one. I've seen plenty of them run over down near Savannah, Georgia. There's a road that goes out to Tybee Island, and apparently they cross it all the time when they're nesting, and a lot of them don't make it. So I'd like to get down there and see live diamondback terrapins, and then probably following that, North American wood turtles and bog turtles. I'll put those guys together even though they're not the same, because I think they're both just super interesting, and they both have these unique habitats, and they're just awesome. I'd love to see them, so hopefully that happens sometime. Sternotherus.carinatus asks, what species do I want to acquire next? Like I said earlier, I don't really have like a list of stuff I want to get, and I'm not like constantly buying animals or anything. I did today get a turtle that has been a dream of mine for about 30 years, and I never really heavily pursued it, and I was never, you know, running around chasing with a fistful of money for it. But it was the right situation, and I was able to see it in person today, and I just kind of pulled the trigger, and I have the means to take care of it. So there'll be a video of this turtle coming up soon, and I'm really excited about it. I'm still kind of like little kid excited, like kind of giddy. So I would say anything else other than that, there's a few things that I would like to keep. I'm in no rush, and I'm not putting pressure on. There are a few things I would like to have that may require like special permits. And so for that, I would just like to kind of continue to build my place and turn it into somewhere where anybody issuing a permit would be able to see how I care for things, and that I do this. I kind of interact and put out hopefully good information, and if that happens, it happens. If it doesn't, you know, I'm not trying to have everything, so no big deal. What is from SVT_OREJAS? SVT Oreja? Is that Spanish? What got you into turtles, and how many turtles do you have? I kind of answered this a little bit earlier. My dad got me into turtles, I think, because he was always pointing them out. And my dad, when he was a kid, he had like a whole yard, like fenced-in outdoor yard, full of eastern box turtles. And so he was always telling me about how he kept them outside, and you know how, you know, in the winter they would do this, and in the summer they would do this. So that kind of was in my head at an early age. And then being in Florida, I was always surrounded by turtles. My first pet turtle, like everybody, was a red-eared slider. I got good grades, I think in like first or second grade, and my mom took me to the store and got me a red-eared slider. I mean, it immediately followed with setting up a big aquarium like a lot of folks do, and doing, I think I got a painted turtle, map turtle, and then a guy at my dad's work hatched out some baby Peninsula Cooters. So being in Florida, turtles were really easy to get to, and kind of the stores back then it was kind of the Wild West. It was like there were hardly any rules, so you could kind of get a hold of anything. So at an early age, I did get a lot, and then learned over time it's actually better to house stuff outdoors if you can. And I learned over time that you can't just throw stuff together. I mean, there's a lot of hard lessons that, you know, a lot of us that have been doing this for a long time have been through. I mean, I've been keeping turtles for over 30 years, so you learn a lot, and you know, some good, some bad. But the thing is as long as you keep learning and adapting and taking in the new information, it's only going to be better for your turtles. So that's what got me into turtles. And how many I have, that is it's hard to answer, because everybody always asks me how many I have, and I counted a few years ago, and I had about 200, but I've since parted with like a lot of those, because a lot of those were taken in from a guy that was exporting, and he just couldn't take care of some of the turtles he had, and he couldn't sell them, so he gave them to me. And then since then, I've like rehomed them and, you know, found places for them to be. So currently, I would estimate somewhere around, could be as few as 60 and as many as 100. I mean, I literally, maybe that's a good idea for a video. Maybe that's actually an awesome idea. Is I should do one video where I just go through and count everything I have. That would actually be like a really cool video. So thanks for the idea. I think we have a couple more questions left. This one is from nicks.exotics, and awesome guy. I follow him, and he asks, since you keep a lot of your reptiles outdoors, what do you do for parasite prevention? Well, luckily I don't live in Florida, where in Florida I know a lot of guys have issues with ticks on their tortoises. We don't have tortoise ticks up here because of I think probably because of our winter. We're not in the coastal plain. There are no native gopher tortoises. As far as parasites that I deal with, I hardly ever deal with any. I would say the only parasites I ever come across with my stuff is leeches, and sometimes they come in on plants, or sometimes, you know, if you have a whole bunch of outdoor turtle ponds and you have them for a while, you're gonna get leeches. To me, leeches aren't a big deal. You know, if I find one leech on one of my turtles, I pick it off and toss it. I have some fish, I'll feed them to the fish. But I don't really worry too much about leeches. I worry more when somebody gives me a turtle and I have no idea on the history of it. And like if it's a Russian tortoise, or somebody gives me like their, you know, slider or something, I kind of have a period of quarantine. I'm like really watching like a hawk, like the behavior. I really want to see them go to the bathroom a few times and make sure they're not passing anything. So that's what I do for parasite prevention. But for the most part, most of my turtles, I really encourage them to live like they do in the wild, and parasites haven't really ever been an issue for me. So knock on wood. So Tristan_McMurdy asks, should I be giving my common snapping turtle calcium supplements? I've raised a ton of common snapping turtles, Florida snapping turtles, alligator snapping turtles, and I've never given them calcium supplements. I feed an all-natural diet. I don't use pellets. So I've never had a need for calcium supplements, but that said, I don't think it's a bad idea. I mean, anything that's a supplement, I don't think is a bad idea, as long as you do it as a supplement. You know, you don't want to be shoving calcium into it every single time you feed it. I think that might get weird. I recommend Cuttlebone, or you can do powdered calcium and kind of wrap it in like a little piece of tilapia or something. When I've had a common snapper that has like an injury, like I had one back when I was about 20, I found a common snapper that had been bitten by another one, and the shell was all opened up, and the shell needed to heal. And so for that turtle, I did, every time I fed it, it would be a piece of meat loaded with calcium in the middle, and he would just, you know, like a snapping turtle, just inhale it, and that helped the shell grow back, you know, much faster, and worked out really well. So I don't think giving them calcium is not a bad idea. I just think you know, just do it as a supplement, maybe once a week, and I think you should be fine. This is the last question. So, the turtle is you. What are your plans with your turtle collection, or is it just a hobby? My plans with my turtle collection, and to answer the second part also, I mean, it's a hobby, but at this point, you know, I'm almost 40 years old now, so it's more of a lifestyle. I mean, turtles are my whole life. I mean, I would do anything for them. You know, I have an alligator snapping turtle I'm taking to a wildlife vet one day this week. You know, I don't know that turtle. I just know that it was in a bad situation. Something's wrong with it. I dropped everything and drove 2 hours south to pick it up. I bought a stock tank, you know, to keep it in, you know, just for a couple days, so it'll, you know, have somewhere safe. And, you know, I don't even know what's going to happen with it, but I've kind of given my whole life to these things, and I have no regrets about it. So it's more than a hobby, and I think because of that, I would like to do as much as I can, you know, here in the state that I live in. I would love to get involved with the state, whether it's doing turtle surveys and looking at populations and documenting animals. I would also like to get involved with doing education, going to schools, going to reptile shows, continuing to do, you know, all the stuff I do through social media, whether it's, you know, YouTube videos or Instagram posts. I recently was lucky enough that to get involved with the Aquascape guys, and there's going to be some big things coming with that, and hopefully, you know, through them, networking with them, I can do some stuff to kind of help spread more turtle knowledge through that, and, you know, just talking with you guys, you know, through DMs. I mean, I learn a lot talking with some of you guys, and it makes a big difference. So hopefully going forward, just keep doing that and keep pursuing that goal. You know, I think for anything, you set a goal, you know, just keep that goal out in front of you, you know, like, and you just work for it every single day, no matter what. I think it'll happen. And so that's kind of what I'm doing with turtles, just trying to kind of build something with it, and you know, something that helps turtles and helps everybody that works with them. So hopefully that answers your question. That was kind of long, kind of rambled through all of these. Thanks for all your questions. I really appreciate it. Maybe we'll do this again, and maybe it won't be raining, and I can do it outside where it'll, you know, look better than you know, the couch in my office. So thanks a lot. Be sure to, you know, click like, subscribe, leave me a comment down in the comments section. I love reading you guys' comments. You guys leave me awesome ones. And be sure to watch for the next video. And thanks again, and I'll see you guys in the next one.